Naruto, a beloved anime series that has captured the hearts of millions, presents a compelling narrative centered around the journey of its eponymous character. It explores themes of friendship, determination, and the pursuit of one's dreams. However, beneath its inspiring message lies a subtle layer of hypocrisy. And before you take your daggers out, I am also a Naruto fan. That's precisely the reason why I bring this topic for discussion. So, without further ado, hit it! Naruto ended so long ago that I don't want to say the date out loud because it will make me feel very old, and you as well.
23rd of March 2017.
And if you were manga only, it's even worse.
10th of November 2014.
Which really makes you question, why did we get so much filler? Unless the reason is well, besides the problems that we all know regarding Naruto's filler, and the power scale getting way crazier, and the fact that apparently there is a sequel about his son or some shit like that, and no one really cares about. Those are not the problems that I want to talk about today. No, the focus today is about one of the subtle betrayals to the series' theme and messages. Or said in a different way, we aim to shed light on instances of hypocrisy within Naruto and examine how they may challenge the ideals it seeks to promote. So, let's start from the beginning. Individuality versus conformity. Naruto initially presents the idea of embracing one's individuality, right? And staying true to oneself as a core theme. The series centers around characters like Naruto, who faces societal rejection and prejudice due to the fact that, well, he was born that way. Like, he has a demon sealed inside of him, no parents, etc., etc. His struggles resonate with the viewers, even if, well, we don't have a demon inside. Well, some of us. The reason is that we can relate to, that feeling of loneliness even more at some points in your youth. So it fosters a sense of empathy and encourages celebration of individuality and diversity. After all, what the series is telling you is, it's okay to be different, it's okay to be whatever. It's not a reason to be unhappy or for people to mistreat you. However, as the narrative unfolds, Naruto reveals a complex contradiction regarding this theme. The Shinobi Society, with its hierarchical structure and stringent adherence to rules and traditions, places a significant emphasis on conformity. The ninja are expected to adhere unquestioningly to established norms, follow orders, and prioritize the collective over personal desires or aspirations. This is very ironic because even though, for example, in the Shinobi Wars, everyone is dressed the same and therefore you lose all the, colorful designs and stuff like that, which is basically the equivalent of putting the X-Men in black suits, thank you movies. The ninjas themselves are all very different. Everyone has like different signature techniques and stuff like that. However, what the series is trying to pass on to you is, no. The collective is what's important, and this idea of everyone as one. So there is a tension that forms between embracing individuality and conforming to societal expectations within, Naruto himself, because, well, the series says out loud that it encourages characters to be themselves and stand out. It often undercuts this message by reinforcing the importance of conforming to those norms for the sake of, peace and stuff like that, which I guess it makes sense for the sake of, the Shinobi world, but at the same time, it's like, well, there is a contradiction there. For example, characters who deviate from those rules are often portrayed as, the bad guys. Every dude that or gal that tried to do something different to what was established by the Shinobi rules is very often the bad guys. And besides the fact that, well, the Orochimaru's ability to revive people is kind of not well explored enough on paper. That would be one of the greatest things you can do because apparently the dead retain their conscience. So why wouldn't you want to do that? Unless that ninja wanted to die voluntarily. It doesn't make much sense. Following this logic, you can also tell that there is some level of contradiction with the main characters in the sense that everyone that is a relevant ninja has like this very individual sense to it or to them. And everyone that's kind of a no-face NPC is just dressed with the uniform and no one really cares about them. Also, there is this thing about, well, you know, the collective is what's important, but also if you become the protector of the collective, aka the Hokage, you get your face in a monte. So I don't know. This is obviously some of the more subtle things in Naruto, but at the end of the day, you can really tell that there is a mix of expectations here between. So it's okay to be different, or should I just like wear the ninja uniform and that's it, right? I don't know. I think that we can engage in meaningful discussions about this topic, but this is the least of the worries, I will say. The second worry that I have with Naruto is the pursuit of peace versus the endless cycle of violence. So, as we all know, because of the Talk no Jutsu, which is Naruto's greatest power, Naruto places a significant emphasis on the pursuit of peace as a central theme. So, every time that Naruto reaches a foe that he can't overcome by traditional means, or he kind of can, still he, uses Talk no Jutsu, which is basically Naruto talking to the bad guy and being like, why are you like this? Can we all be friends? Etc., etc. So the idea that's implicit in Naruto is that, well, we need to fight for peace, or at least we need to strive for peace, which is a very ironic thing because normally Naruto reaches this point after beating the hell out of the bad guy. So this means that the series itself is entangled in a very weird paradox where Naruto promotes empathy, understanding, and diplomacy as key ingredients to resolve problems and, fostering reconciliation between people. And, Naruto himself is like the symbol of compassion, forgiveness, and finding common ground, aka Talk no Jutsu. However, on the other hand, the series, well, we all love that series for the battle scenes, right? And the fights, even though sometimes some of those fights are lifted from Cowboy Bebop. But I think it's the irony of a shonen. However, the thing is that with other shonens, normally what happens is that you may have a character like Son Gohan from Dragon Ball Z that's like, oh, I don't want to fight, or Andromeda Shun from Saint Seiya, and they are like, I don't want to fight, can we please solve this peacefully, etc., etc. So like they don't want to fight, but they get pulled into it, and turns out that they are the most powerful because that's the irony that those series want to portray, that the person that is the least violent is actually the most powerful. They just don't want to use their power for violence. In the case of Naruto, yeah, you could argue that Naruto himself and some of his friends are kind of passive in the sense that they are doing their lives and then someone attacks, like the Fire Nation. But mostly during Shippuden, you can tell that Naruto sometimes is in the offensive because he really wants to save that Sasuke. So, the contradiction raises questions about the series' true stance on the pursuit of peace because obviously, let's be honest, this is me being like too philosophical for my own good because yes, this is a contradiction and this is the topic of the video. So it's like, well, Naruto says that we should aim for peace. However, this is a series about beating the crap out of everyone. But it's a shonen manga, right? So we are here for the action. Let's just not pretend that we are not. I think that's the reason why people say that the Talk no Jutsu is such a meme and people just make fun of it. The first time we all watch or read Naruto, yeah, maybe the first time you see the Talk no Jutsu, you're like, oh man, yeah, let's go. And by the seventh time, you're like, oh, Naruto, can you please just Rasengan the hell out of that person? They are not going to change. But sometimes they change. Sometimes they change on the deathbed. But at least they change, right? At the end of the day, it's about the message. It's about sending a message. And I think that the message that Naruto is trying to send here, both the character and the series, is, well, I mean, as long as you repent, right? But I do think that the conflict between the pursuit of peace and the endless cycle of violence is at least something that makes you scratch your head, because Naruto himself is always like, can we please stop the endless cycle of violence? Also, Naruto, Odama Rasengan, right? So at least there is that. On that line, the other topic that's kind of related to that is the dichotomy of redemption. So redemption is a recurring theme within Naruto, in the sense that most of the bad guys, in one way or another, they're like, well, I guess I was wrong, sorry, right? The thing here is that unlike Dragon Ball Z, where, for example, in Dragon Ball Z, it's like Piccolo was a bad guy, and then it's like, well, he's a good guy now, and Vegeta was a bad guy, and well, he's a good guy now, and you even Freezer, for Freezer's sake, now that I think about it, Dragon Ball is kind of repetitive on that front. Well, Naruto doesn't have that, in the sense that it's kind of backwards, actually. Like, we're striving for peace, and Naruto is like, well, talk no jutsu, let's try to redeem yourself. However, most of the villains kind of just redeem in their deathbed, so you could argue, are they really redeeming? Really? Because, I mean, if I know I'm going to die, I can also be like, oh, actually, I was wrong about it. Right? Like, there is no real weight behind that. Like, the only character that actually switches side in a very meaningful way is Sasuke, which is a topic for an entire different video, because the Sasuke Naruto thing and the whole, I don't want to. So on one hand, the series offers nuanced portrayals of characters seeking redemption and wrestling with their past mistakes, right? For example, Pain is a character that technically is avenging, but at the same time is trying to redeem problems from the past. He's trying to make the world a better place, right? Then he redeems at the end, just before like doing a backup restore and dying. But on the other hand, Naruto sometimes presents a simplified view of redemption, which is precisely what I'm trying to say, is that, well, it's okay if you kill the entire village of the leaf, is okay, as long as you're sorry, right? So are there any consequences to the things in Naruto? Like, the only meaningful consequences that you actually feel in the series, and I will fight this to the end of the world, is with the meaningful departure of Jiraiya sensei, which I will fight to the end of time is better than the equivalent that we have in One Piece, which I'm not going to say what it is because I don't want to spoil you One Piece in case you haven't seen One Piece, because it's a video on Naruto. But since Naruto and One Piece are both part of the trifecta of the Dragon Ball Z heirs, which were Naruto, One Piece, and Bleach, even though no one remembers Bleach, the thing is that a lot of people make a big fuss about the significant event in One Piece because it's kind of contemporary to a degree to what happens in Naruto with Jiraiya, but no way, it is in no way the same thing. The departure of Jiraiya, to call it somehow, is one of the most meaningful things in a shonen in terms of impact to both the protagonist and the reader. Not to be compared with some other, there are a lot of shonens where it's like, oh, he's dead, let's revive him or something, Dragon Ball Z, or it's just like, oh no, he was dead, our character is suffering too much. And we didn't really spend that much time with a character, so I don't care. That's why he's dead, actually, because it doesn't matter. But in the case of Jiraiya, it was the closest thing Naruto had to a father figure. Even though everyone forgets about Iruka Sensei, like, can we please talk about that bro for a second? Like, what's up with Iruka Sensei? Like, what is the redemption for him? But I digress. So Naruto raises questions about how are you handling moral themes, right? Because you get these characters that, well, they are shonen characters, so you can't really just strive that much for them. But you get these characters that are somewhat complex, and they have somewhat valid motivations sometimes that are not just basically, I want to kill everyone. And then at the end, it's like, well, I am sorry, I was doing it for good intentions on my side, I guess, and then they die. So, is there any meaning to redemption? I mean, is there any weight to that redemption? Like, you kill a bunch of people at the end, just before you die, you're like, oh, actually, I'm kind of sorry. It's like, that doesn't redeem you. That doesn't make you a better person in any way. You still killed a bunch of people. You still did a bunch of things wrong. So are we supposed to feel sorry about it? Or like, and Naruto is like, yeah, man, totally. It's like, no, I get it that it's like Saint Naruto most of the time, but it's like, what are we getting from it? As a story, it's not good. Like, a bad guy killing a bunch of people and saying, oh, I'm sorry, or just like turning heel at the end. What is the world getting from it? Besides, that's kind of even more of a jerk move. And I'm thinking mostly about Pain here. But that's kind of but mostly every villain in Naruto is kind of like that. But that's kind of a jerk move. It's like, you kill everyone and then just at the last second, you're like, actually, I'm kind of sorry. It's like, bro, if you are kind of sorry, then don't do it in the first place. And you're like, oh, but actually the motivation is like, yeah, but then just die like a bad guy. I mean, what's the point in redeeming at the last second? You're not going to change places. You're still going to hell for killing a bunch of people. Like, what's up with that? And from a serious standpoint, for us as viewers, it's just a waste of time. It's like, you get like 3 more chapters or episodes. Well, in case of Naruto's anime, it's like 10 episodes because pacing and filler. But about a villain being like, oh, actually, when I was a kid, and then a bunch of sad flute music in the background is like, what are we doing? Like, I don't care. That character is already dead. It's the end of that character. What am I getting from this? And you may be thinking, well, actually, when the reanimation jutsu from Orochimaru gets introduced in the Ninja War, that kind of, turns the table. It's like, well, some of that people actually redeemed before they died, so now that they are revived, you can actually have conflicts and interesting stuff as well. But you're not, because Kishimoto was just like, let's just do a war. I'm kind of tired about Naruto, so can we please just close this thing? So a bunch of characters that got revived. Some of them have personalities, some of them don't. Like, technically the justification is that the jutsu binds them, but binding them doesn't prevent them from thinking. They can just act, against their will, but they still have like their own personality, technically. But I digress. This just really takes me to the next point, which is the moral ambiguity of the Wheel of Fire, right? What is the Wheel of Fire? So, the concept of the Wheel of Fire is the central theme in the Naruto series, representing the unwavering determination and loyalty of the shinobi of Konoha to protect their village and preserve peace. It is often portrayed as a honorable and virtuous ideology, symbolizing self-sacrifice, unity, and the willingness to put the collective good above personal desires. However, the Wheel of Fire also possesses inherent moral ambiguity, raising questions about its true nature and the potential dark side of this. While it encourages the defense of the village and the preservation of peace, it can lead to actions that are morally questionable or even morally reprehensible. And, before you say anything, I actually kind of like this as a motivator for some of the stuff. Like, in the case of Hitachi, for example, technically, this is a thing, like this applies, because it's like, well, actually, Itachi, which is Kishimoto's most beloved character, without a doubt, Itachi just did everything he did for the sake of the greater good. He did it to protect Konoha and yada yada, because his clan was getting kind of crazy. So he was like, well, maybe my clan doesn't need to exist, and that way everyone is happier. So that's an interesting concept. It is not portrayed like that, and it kind of is stretched far too long and kind of in a very emo way. So when you actually get to understand what happened, you're kind of in the late stages of the game, and it doesn't have the same effect, I will say, because Kishimoto overplays the hand of like, oh, Itachi's so cool, you will understand when it's time to understand. But it's like, can you please just like not, phrase it that way so that I can actually understand Itachi for what he is, instead of just being like a very cool character kind of thing. But again, I digress. You can really tell I really love Naruto because I just go on freaking tangents. And this thing has a script, mind you. So one aspect of this moral ambiguity lies in the potential for blind loyalty, right? So this is actually what happens with some of the ninja, namely Itachi to a degree. And this can also breed a sense of superiority and exclusivity within the village. I think it kind of happens because Konoha kind of has this thing, like they really think they are better than anyone else, and you're like, oh, come on, you're being too right, like, come on. Like, that's not a thing. I actually believe this. If you really look into it, when the tailed beasts were distributed, Konoha was like, or the Fire Nation was like, yo, so we have 9 tailed beasts? You can pretty much take every tailed beast. We are just going to take the one. And it's like, well, is that one more powerful than all the other combined? It's like, nah, like, not really, guys. You can have like the 8 tails and the 7 tails and the 6 tails. I mean, maybe the 9 tails is like, the QB is like the most powerful thing ever, but certainly it's not more powerful than all the others combined, right? And then you see what happens at the end of Naruto, and it's like, well, kind of, yeah, it is. It was kind of a dick move, but at the same time, it's like, we don't need more than this because, you know, all of the Hokage have always been like these godlike creatures, even the one that just happens to manipulate wood, which is a thing. So they kind of have this thing about like, oh, well, we are too superior to other countries and we can retain peace by any ways necessary. We are the ninja police of the world. And the Ambu actually make precedent of that. And you can actually see that with Danzo, because Danzo, as you know, was the founder and leader of Root. And it's like, well, this dude is the KGB of ninjas, right? He's like, no, we're going to keep peace by any means necessary, which kind of makes you think a lot about this, because when he becomes Hokage and all that stuff, and then they actually roll back his title, so he doesn't count, so Naruto gets to be the 7th because numbers, right? But he's supposed to be like, oh, we're protecting Konoha in the shadows and all that stuff, and it's like, are you though? Because have you seen all the shit that has happened so far? And I haven't seen a single Ambu ninja that is like, oh, this dude is like actually good. It's like, most Ambu are kind of meh, but they're very patriotic, that's for sure. But they are very, very meh, to be honest. Like, I can't recall a Ambu ninja that I'm like, oh, I mean, I guess you can count as Ambu, you know, like the Aburame maybe, or Orochimaru, I guess. Well, if you count Orochimaru and maybe Sai, although Sai is kind of a thing, well, that's a video for itself. Like, Sai is really like, I think that the only Ambu that are really like, oh yeah, whoa, geez, are Itachi and Shisui, which happen to be Uchiha, because Naruto might as well be called Uchiha and Uchiha Shippuden. But again, like, this is the problem about me talking about Naruto. I really love it. At the same time, it really triggers me. It's like when you're a Harry Potter fan and you get older and then you start to see a bunch of contradictions and plot holes everywhere, and you criticize them with a fiery passion because you're like, why is this thing so full of holes? I still love it, but still, like, yeesh. And I guess to bring an end to this video, because this is kind of a weird video for me, this video was written as an essay and it has a script. I am kind of reading the script, but as I keep reading the script, I just go into tangents because I just really love Naruto and this really like triggers me. But the one thing that really made me think about the topic for this video is the very big contradiction of Naruto. And you'll be like, oh, well, I mean, you're like 20 something minutes in and now you're talking about the main points. Like, well, there are a bunch of contradicting stuff in Naruto, right? We talked about individuality versus conformity. We talked about the pursuit of peace versus the endless cycle of violence, the dichotomy of redemption, the moral ambiguity of the wheel of fire, and what I think is the most important and damaging thing in Naruto is the limits of hard work and natural talent. So our protagonist is Naruto. Naruto is this ninja kid that is having a very hard time because people are just ignoring him and shunning him, and because, you know, he has a demon inside and he's from a later we know that he's from one clan that was like, the Uzumaki. But with time, it doesn't make that much sense. I mean, the propaganda around Naruto should be like very bad, because if he has the Uzumaki surname, which is from a extinct clan, but this is still a legendary clan, and he's the son of the fourth, which is one of the most beloved ninja, even outside of Konoha, because everyone kind of gushes over the fourth. It's like, oh my god, the fourth was like the most craziest turbo ninja ever. I love him. It's like, why are people just shunning? I mean, yes, he has like the demon inside of him, but like, shouldn't someone just like pick the kid, right? Like, why are you shunning him so hard? Like, it never actually made much sense to me. Like, and the third Hokage, he's kind of a douchebag because he knew. And instead of just being like, well, let me take care of the kid, he's just like, it will pass. He will outgrow it, I guess. It's like, no, man, you're scarring the kid for life. I guess in the end it worked okay because Naruto, his personality is a byproduct of the hard times he had growing up. But still, again, digressing. But Naruto is our main character, right? So at the beginning, Naruto is like, well, he kind of can control chakra-ish, but actually he can do this jutsu, the Kagebunshi no Jutsu, or the Shadow Clone Jutsu, and he's like amazing at it, and it's a very advanced technique, and a forbidden scroll, and yada yada yada. So he has a bunch of chakra, and the thing that gets more and more emphasized as the series goes on is that, well, Naruto is very determined, so he's like, more than that determined, he's like stubborn. Stubborn is like the proper word. And he has a crazy amount of chakra. So that's Naruto's thing, like he has this crazy amount of chakra. Then we learn that it's not that he has all that chakra, it's the Nine Tails that has all that chakra. So he's special because of this very same thing that made people hate him, which is ironic, and I love it as a concept. But then it means that Naruto as an individual is not that special. He's kind of favored because then you look at it and it's like, well, he's the son of a legendary ninja clan that is no longer, in existence, but is legendary, and the best ninja that ever existed. And he was trained by one of the three best ninjas of all time, and also Kakashi. I mean, Kakashi is kind of... I love Kakashi. He is great. And he trains Naruto to the degree, but Kakashi is more like concerned with Sasuke and is like, oh, actually, let me just take care of this kid because this is the one that's the school shooter. Naruto is kind of an okay kid, but like he can tell that Sasuke is like the school shooter potential right there. And so he teaches him the Chidori and all that stuff. He teaches stuff to Naruto, but not as much as Jiraiya. So Jiraiya teaches stuff to Naruto. Naruto then goes and learns from the frogs themselves. And then he kind of, teams up with the Nine Tails. And then he learns stuff from the Eight Tails as well. Like, Naruto is a very favored individual. And yes, he's stubborn and, gotta try and, but how much, is Naruto actually talented to a degree? That's the question that I want to bring here. Is like, he's stubborn and he has an infinite amount of ammunition, which is chakra in this case. So eventually he will get it. One of the things that I love about Naruto as a character is that he gets to a solution. For example, see kid, this is the Rasengan. And he's like, oh, that seems okay. He can control the Rasengan. Then there is an explanation for it. It's not that Naruto is that bad at chakra control. It's that half of his chakra is not his, and the Kyuubi is kind of there as well. So, so he gets around stuff with smart solutions. Like, well, if I can just shape the chakra like a ball, if I can make two clones, because clones are super easy for me, I can do it. So let's go. And he does exactly that. Now, to add to this, you have Sasuke. Sasuke, which is everyone's favorite kid, is also the same. It's like he was born from a super duper clan and he has the eyes of heaven. Like the dude is touched by God. He's super smart. He's beautiful apparently. And he knows how to fight and is a prodigy and he's from the Uchiha clan and he has the crazy eyes, and then he gets another set of eyes and he gets the brand of the demon and all that shit. So Naruto is OP as fuck. Sasuke is OP as fuck as well. So they both get a bunch of crazy stuff, etc., etc. But the series really tries to sell me the concept that is mostly in the case of Naruto is because he is trying. Like Sasuke is trying to get power by any means necessary, but Naruto, he is trying. He is making a conscious effort to do the thing. And to this, I have to argue, is him though? And to the series, I have to argue, is that really the thing that you want to pass me on to? Because now we talk about the MVP of Naruto, Rock Lee. So everything that happens with Rock Lee is a tragedy, right? So Rock Lee is all about determination, unwavering spirit, and commitment to hard work. Because the dude can do genjutsu, can do ninjutsu, he can only do taijutsu. So he can only punch and kick with all the things that he can, with all his muscles, all his, intensity, but he can only just do hand-to-hand combat. But that's the joke with Rock Lee, right? So they sell you this concept and you see this character is like, oh, Rock Lee, and he's kind of odd looking. It's like, well, he's dressed in like mono green with a sash and like that weird haircut, and he looks like he's the son of his sensei, but he's not. It's just that he respects him a lot. The first time that Rock Lee appears into the show, man, he kicks Sasuke's ass. So you, as a viewer or a reader, you are like, oh man, this shit is good. Like, what is this kid? And then remember, the original Naruto, the beginning of Naruto, was very fun in that sense because it was like every new person that appeared was a potential foe, but everyone was in Konoha. We still were in the microcosmos of Konoha. So it's like, oh, they're enemies, but it's like, it's a school exam. So technically they are all in the same side. Maybe one of those kids is like more evil than another, but they are still kids in the same village. So technically everyone is friends here. So Rock Lee kicks Sasuke's ass, hands it to him, and it's beautiful. And you're like, oh my god, what are you going to do? And you have that fun contrast because Rock Lee kind of likes Sakura, and Sakura is like, oh, this guy is ugly, and you're like, oh, it doesn't matter, look at the guy just kicked the ass of your Ken right there, so what are you gonna do about it, right? And everyone likes Rock Lee, and then you see that the internal tournament and the evolution, and you kind of know a little bit of his story when you get to the Shinobi, to the tuning exams, and you have the battle between Rock Lee and Gaara. Man, to this day, I still believe that the best fight in Naruto is Rock Lee versus Gaara. That moment, you tell me that you like Naruto, you're a fan of Naruto as a series, and you don't get goosebumps when you think back on the moment that Rock Lee just removes the weights and those things just go like boom in the ground, and it's like, wow, like that's that moment. Even if you just like shonen, that thing has to do something to you because the whole moment, how is the build up, everything is amazing. So Rock Lee tries the hardest that everyone will ever try in Naruto, and he still loses. He loses to Gaara. Why? Because he needed to lose against Gaara, because the plot demands that he loses against Gaara. Gaara is a person that is talented, I guess, but at the same time it's just like, oh, because he has a demon in his belly as well, so that's why like he's super duper powerful. So all the effort that Rock Lee is putting through, it doesn't really matter. As long as you have some convenient yadawazu whatever in your stomach, or the eyes of God, or whatever, it doesn't matter if you really try. So my problem with Naruto's message as a series is that, well, so far we went like, you like individuality versus conformity, and it's like, no, you need to fight for individuality, although everyone needs to dress the same, and it's kind of, we don't praise individual ninjas, but we kind of do, to the point of putting their faces in a mountain. And it's like, well, we need to, peace is the way, but we kick everyone else's ass for the sake of it. And redemption is the thing, even though it's not really, and people just redeem for the sake of shonen, I guess. And the Wheel of Fire is like, wow, you never, like, you have to protect the homeland and all that. It's like, do you though? But the thing that really bleeds me out is if you work hard, you will get there. Because what happens to Rock Lee next is a tragedy. He's injured, he recovers, he gets injured again, he recovers. Then he goes Super Saiyan, he gets injured, he recovers. More or less. And his sensei kind of could have finished the entire series himself, just kicking Madara's ass. And not only that, but the series is called Naruto, so he's like, oh, he tried, and then he's in a wheelchair or something, because whatever. But Rock Lee, man. Rock Lee. They just did him dirty, man. Like, it's not fair. Rock Lee is a character that represents you and me. He's a character that, well, I wasn't born with anything special. I'm just a dude. I want to try my best. I want to be the best. I want to, go at it with everything I have and be better and improve and just keep moving forward. But sadly, this is not his series. He would have been an excellent protagonist for another shonen. But this is Naruto. If you don't have a demon inside of you or the eyes of a god or yada yada, it doesn't really matter. He can do cool ninja tricks. He needs to train like a dog to be in the same conversation as any of the other ninjas with either magical eyes or something, or the descendant of a legendary ninja or something. The series at the beginning at least was like, well, he sure is ugly, right? But look at this dude. And then he's just an ugly dude. Like, he was like, oh, look, he's ugly and he's dressed very weirdly, but he is powerful because he tried. He's not a bad guy in any sense of the word. He tries. And his entire thing was that Neji was the opposite. He was a prodigy, born into a good family with eyes of God as well and all that stuff. But he was like, no, this is my rival. I need to kick this guy's ass. And at the end, it doesn't matter. So the series tries at the beginning, and then he just becomes a joke. Someone that dresses weirdly and has a weird haircut and is very fixated on Sakura, which is weird, even though Naruto kind of has a worse fixation at the beginning, but that's okay. And the series just wants us to think like, Rock Lee, right? What a weird dude. And I will fight against that. Nothing hits harder than his moment against Gaara in the entirety of Naruto. He still loses that fight, and all of that is because, regardless of anything else and all the hypocrisy of this series, he failed to have the one thing that will make him successful. He's not the protagonist. And that, my friends, that's the biggest tragedy in all of Naruto. Oof, oh boy. This was certainly a weird video for me. There are a lot of series that I wouldn't say they are like the best series in the world, but they are special to me and I like them a lot. And Naruto is one of them. It's representative of one of the strongest friendships I have in my life, because we both connected over that the first time we met. And to this day, we'll still debate and talk stuff about Naruto. And from time to time, I just bring the topic that Jujutsu Kaisen is basically Naruto again, because you have a dude with spiky hair that has a demon inside of him and a girl that is kind of bipolar and has a fixation on another character that is not the main character, but the main character kind of likes her. And you have an emo dude that is kind of a prodigy that has a power that is kind of weird. And you have Kakashi. In this case, Kakashi is literally Kakashi, but one covers the mouth and the other covers the eyes. So yeah, Jujutsu Kaisen is pretty much Naruto. But I don't know, this video was kind of fun to make just because I really like Naruto. And I will like to see your thoughts down below. Like, do you agree with some of these? Some of these maybe make sense to you. Some of these maybe you don't. Do you agree with my takes? Maybe you don't. That's okay. As Naruto said, it is by talking that we understand each other. So I count on having those comments down below. I thank you very much for your time. And as always, I will see you next time on BitViews. Thank you very much.